Now we discuss the general form of complex numbers, that is x plus yi or x plus jy. Pwede rin yun. So example natin is x squared plus 2x plus 10 is equal to 0. If we get the roots of this equation, we use quadratic formula. That is, this is our b, and our a is 1, our c is 10. So our formula is negative 2 negative b plus minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. And then manipulating and computing, simplifying, we arrive to the answer na negative 1 plus minus 3i. Because meron tayong negative na integer dito sa loob ng radical sign. So, this is our z since it's a complex number. Note that x plus yi is purely real if y is equal to 0. So if y is equal to 0, okay, at y equal to 0, that is z is equal to x plus 0 times I. And any number multiplied by 0 is equal to 0. Therefore, yung z mo is purely real number. Ayan. And dito naman sa pangalawa, if x is equal to 0, then your complex number is 0 plus z is equal to 0 plus yi. So, yung number mo is now purely imaginary kasi wala siyang real part. Okay? Yan. So, let's proceed to operation of complex numbers, rectangular form. Okay, so consider z1 equal to x sub 1 plus y sub 1i, and then z2 x sub 2 plus y sub 2i. So addition, z1 plus z2. Paano ba mag-add ng complex numbers? So our solution would be, okay, so sulat muna natin si z sub 1. That is x sub 1 plus y sub 1i plus x sub 2 plus y sub 2i. So, in adding complex numbers, we add the real part and then the imaginary part. So, pagsamahin natin si real part, which is x sub 1 plus x sub 2, and then i-add natin si imaginary part. So, y sub 1 plus y sub 2i. So, this is how to add complex numbers. Sa subtraction naman, considering yan pa rin na si z1, z sub 1 and z sub 2. So, sa subtraction naman, we write si z sub 1, which is si x sub 1 plus y sub 1 I minus x sub 2 plus y sub 2. Oh, sorry. X sub 2 I. Okay? So, ganun din, pagsamahin si real part and then si imaginary part. However, isa-subtract mo siya. So, x sub 1 minus x sub 2 plus y sub 1 minus y sub 2 I. Okay? So, that is how you subtract complex numbers. Now, in multiplication, we have, sulat muna natin si z sub 1, that is x sub 1 plus y sub 1i times x sub 2 plus y sub 2i. Okay? So, ang gagawin mo dito, just like the typical na solving in algebra, we use FOIL method. So, this will be equal to x sub 1 times x sub 2 plus x sub 1 times y sub 2i plus x sub 2 y sub 1i, and then plus y sub 1 y sub 2 tapos c I squared kasi I times I, 'di ba? Okay. So from here, we can simplify. This will be equal to x sub 1 times x sub 2 plus x sub 1, y sub 2. Wait lang. Hindi mo na yan. Ito muna yung unahin natin. Unahin natin yung mga real part. Why did I say na real part to? Kasi I squared, as we solved kanina, this is equal to negative 1. Tama? So, magiging real na yung part na to. So, i-add natin dito, plus y sub 1. Oh, hindi pala plus. That will be equal to negative. Kasi negative 1 yung I squared natin. So, minus y sub 1 times y sub 2 plus ito, pagsamahin na natin tong part na to. Since common to sa kanila, i-isolate natin or i-factor out natin. So, this will be equal to x sub 1, y sub 2, plus x sub 2, y sub 1 times r. So, itong part na to is now our real number, real part, and this is now our imaginary number. Okay, so our next operation will be division. So, z sub 1 over z sub 2. So, complex conjugate or z bar is the conjugate of a complex number. When we say conjugate, for example, our z is equal to x plus yi, then yung complex conjugate natin will be x minus yi. So, nagbabago yung operation niya. Okay? So, in dividing complex numbers, we have z sub 1 over z sub 2. Kailangan lang natin i-multiply yung complex conjugate nung denominator. Okay? So, this will be z sub 2 bar over z sub 2 bar. Okay, so this will be our working solution. And substitute natin, this will be x sub 1 plus y sub 1i over x sub 2 plus y sub 2i multiplied by yung complex conjugate ng denominator natin, that will be x sub 2 minus y sub 2i over x sub 2 minus y sub 2i. Okay, so if you can see, if mapapansin nyo, this will be equal to 1. And then we multiply it to this one, so parang wala rin tayong binago. Okay? So, simplifying, we have, dito na natin ituloy. So, since multiplication to, multiply lang natin yung mga numerator to numerator and then denominator to denominator. So, this will, itong denominator natin is the expansion of the difference of two squares. Ibig sabihin, this will be equal to x sub 2 squared minus y sub 2 squared times I squared. Okay? So, this is the denominator, the new denominator, the difference of two squares. And then, dito naman, kailangan nating mag-FOIL method. So, this will be equal to x sub 1 times x sub 2 plus x sub 1 times negative y sub 2i plus x sub 2 times y sub 1i, and then positive times negative, that will be negative y sub 1 times y sub 2 times I squared. Okay? So, this I squared is equal to negative 1. So, simplifying, we have x sub 1 times x sub 2. And since naging real number na ito, isama na natin siya sa real. Isunod na natin siya sa real part. So, negative times negative, that will be positive. So, plus y sub 1 times y sub 2. And then, negative x sub 1. Wait lang. Gawin na lang natin is pagsamahin sila. Okay? So, since common sa kanila si I, pwede natin siyang i-isolate. Tapos, this will be equal to x sub 1 x sub 2. This will be equal to x sub 2 y sub 1 minus x sub 1 y sub 2. This one, oh. Kasi naging positive yung answer natin dito. Pwede namang negative dito, tapos maging negative yung operation pa rin dito. Okay? So, okay. And then, C na isolate na I. So, this is our, meron pa palang denominator. X sub 2 squared and I squared is equal to negative 1. So, negative times negative, that will be equal to positive y sub 2 is squared. Okay, so this is our final answer for example number 4, the division of complex numbers.